I'm Johnny Palmer from Pitch, and I'm the guy who bought this thing and is planning on getting it to Bristol. But as you might have heard, it's not going so well. I like to make out like I've really got it together, but often not the case. So, bit stuck in the mud. Here's the problem. This is a landing gear. This is the aeroplane that weighs about 20 ton, and that is the grass we have to get it across. Now, everyone's saying it's stuck in the mud. Technically not quite. The real issue is that if we roll it off this padding here, which is a big aluminium sheet, and same at the front, it's probably gonna sink. It's one problem. Second issue is that to move this thing, they have to drag it with a thing called a tug, which is basically like a towing vehicle for aircraft. Now, that has a strut that attaches to the nose landing gear here, and then attaches to the tug. You can't just run a tow line off into the distance and drag the aircraft out. Issue there is, the tug on the grass will probably not get traction, then the tug could sink, then you've got some tug, and I don't know how many they have down here, that can't be moved until the ground dries. So that's the problem. Now, some people will say, well, hang on, if you just put a tow line around the nose landing gear and get a 4x4 or a truck or whatever, you could drag it up. Problem there is that you've got this situation. In the nose landing gear here, it's a pneumatic strut, or it might be oil actually, which pushes up and down. And it's got a thing here called the oleo strut. Now what that does is keeps it rigid without the whole thing spinning. Now, because this is disengaged, if you tried to drag it, what could happen is the nose landing gear would spin round and potentially dig into the ground. And that is why you need the tug with its strut that attaches rigidly to the nose landing gear so it can essentially steer it as well as pull it. Quite interesting stuff. Now, I don't know if I sound like an expert, I'm not. This is all stuff I learned kind of like last week. It's fascinating. So that is why PytchAir here is stuck here until this ground gets sufficiently dry for the tug to not sink, the aircraft to not sink, and the tug to not skid. Hope that's interesting to everyone. See you soon.